That's our new signature.
We're going to do it every single time in the same exact key. We'll remember.
Oh, here we are.
Now entertain us.
Now entertain us.
Here we are. Now entertain us.
A mosquito.
My libido.
My libido.
Yeah.
That's just a little wink and a nod to those Gen X listeners out there. From us Gen X co-hosts in here.
But who are we? We are Paul F. Tompkins. I'm a comedian.
I am Janie Haddad Tompkins. I'm an actress.
We are a married couple living in Los Angeles, and this is our after dinner podcast.
We just ramble on. It's a conversation podcast, guys.
Yeah.
And guess what? We're the original.
There were no conversational podcasts before we started doing this in quarantine
We're the
of 2020.
OG.
So you're welcome for that genre.
You're welcome. Just kidding, guys. We're not really the original, but we are a married couple, and we do this podcast once a month.
Yes.
For everyone. But if you're a little special and you want some bonus.
If you want to feel a little special.
If you want to feel a little special
yes.
and you want some bonus content, we got that for you.
That's true. More on that later.
But just know it's coming. That we
yeah.
Just,
Donald.
So our monthly. So if you're new to us, first question, why? Second question, just kidding. That's like a
second question. Just
that's
kidding.
That's just like a.
It's self-deprecating.
No, but
it's
that's
fun.
like a cliche joke at this point.
It is for sure. Yeah.
It's basically like, I know what you're wondering. What is like a supermodel doing in it's like kind of like that. Don't you think?
Yes.
How did someone so fabulous get to end up in this dive bar doing a 5-minute comedy?
Exactly.
It's along the lines of that.
Yes.
Any hoozles. If you're new to us, I forgot why I was going to say anything.
If you're new to us, this is what it is. So I think you illustrated that perfectly.
Oh, that we usually come out the second Friday of the month, but we're a day late and $1 short.
Because I got back from my tour yesterday, and I requested that we delay it by a day, just because it was so close to when I got home to when we would record. Just seemed like a lot.
I don't think that like when you're on an airplane all day and it's depriving you of oxygen, like you can be effervescent.
I want that oxygen, and I want that effervescence.
Yeah, exactly.
I also want evanescence. Remember them?
Jog my memory just a little
They were
bit.
a band, and I can't remember what their big song was.
Do you want me to ask our virtual assistant?
No. Because then it'll trigger for other people that are listening.
Good point.
A horrible experience.
Well, we have been traveling. Since our last episode, Paul's been on tour. Mm-hmm. I went to visit my mom.
Yes. So first Janie was gone for about a week. Then we met up in New York in time for me to go away for a week.
Well, you were touring. You were touring through New York.
Beginning the tour in New York.
Yes. And so I was visiting my mom in South Carolina.
That's right.
So I hopped up to New York and joined the tour as a groupie.
That's right.
I have not been given a comedy slot yet on Varietopia.
Is that something you've been wanting? And you've been making the most subtle hints?
Hey, I might be working up a secret little act. I'm just kidding.
Okay.
I don't have an act.
Unless that's part of the secret. Let me know when it's ready. And we'll audition you.
I could do like, if you had like a magician or something, I feel like I could do like a magician assistant thing. Do you know what I mean?
I bet you could.
Yeah, I think I could.
You do a good job.
I'd come up with something
of like
that.
Pointing at things in a flourish, with a flourish.
Yeah. I mean, but sometimes on your comedy slot, like you don't demand a lot of your guests, to be fair.
What does that mean?
I mean that sometimes like you'll have like a guest in the comedy slot.
You mean like where I do a sketch with them?
Yeah.
Oh, yes. I thought you meant like if I booked somebody to be a comedian on the show. And I thought you were like saying, they're not very good. You don't ask a lot of them.
Wow, you were loaded for bear. You were like loaded for bear on that one.
Because I don't consider it the comedy slot.
I've seen you write. I've seen the notes for your show, and it says comedy slot.
It never.
Yes,
it has
it does.
never said that. It says variety spot.
Well, that's the same thing.
And no, it's not, because that's a solo performance. That's not me. When I interact with a guest, it's listed as sketch.
Okay.
You're going to challenge me with my own set list.
I just don't. I mean,
in front of all these people.
No, I'm agreeing with your reality, but I'm saying that
thank you.
I don't feel like what I was saying was so wildly like cuckoo that it was like off.
I never said it was wildly cuckoo.
You're acting like, how dare you call it a comedy slot?
I never said. Look,
when it said, I've seen the notes and it said variety.
People can play it back, and they can determine how I was reacting. You're accusing me of being hysterical.
They're not going to see your face.
And they never will. Because I'm the
because
Phantom.
they're micro. I mean, it was weird when you came back from the tour with the Phantom mask.
I had half a mask on my face. That's just because of my cystic acne.
What if you, would you, if they said, Paul, would you play the Phantom? Would you do it?
Like on Broadway?
Yeah.
Or I guess I'd have to say yes.
On Broadway.
I guess I'd have to say yes.
Yeah. Right?
No one would like it.
Why do you think that?
Well, because I can sing, but I don't have a Broadway voice.
Actually, I think that you do.
Well, thank you. But I mean, those people are... I think that if I did that, a lot of people would be mad in the Broadway community. They'd be like, who the fuck is this dude?
I think I would like to see what you do with the role.
I think that's interesting. Absolutely.
You know?
A real reimagining of the Phantom, who's traditionally not 55.
I saw that show on Broadway in the year...
of our Lord.
25. What is that song?
In the year 2525, yes. It's coming up.
It is kind of, right?
We'll see if their predictions were true in that song.
I saw it like in 2000. It was either 2000 or early. It was either like late 2000.
Pre 9/11.
It was definitely pre 9/11 because I moved away from New York.
Yes.
Weeks after 9/11.
And the Phantom.
Yes, weeks after.
That's included.
Weeks after 9/11, I skedaddled. I got my hot little ass right out to Los Angeles.
That's right.
With my big suitcase full of stuff and stars in my eyes. And the rest is history, folks. Nothing has happened. Just about nothing has happened so far. So I saw the show. I can't remember how it came to pass. I was temp to perm at an office job, kind of in Midtown. I worked for Jewish Family Affairs and for this rabbi at this nonprofit. And there was this coworker of mine who I was forced to be kind of friendly with because I guess like when you have like coworkers and in an office job, like you kind of like, okay, this is who I'm eating lunch with today, you know?
Oh yeah, for sure. But I think that's any job where you work with other people on a regular basis. You are hoping that you will find someone that, first I hope everybody's cool. Then you hope if everybody's not cool, I hope there's at least one person that I can hang with and it'll be fine.
But no one was cool because it was like this dorky religious organization. Yeah. You know?
Yeah.
And anyway, but like she always thought everything I said and did was so funny. And so like I had all the work of like being like the funny one, I guess.
But you also get all the praise.
Yeah, but like it's a lot like, you know, like sometimes you want to hang out with other funny people too.
Honey, that's absolutely right.
I remember that she was like, I saw this like new show. It's so funny. It's called Curb Your Enthusiasm. And she's like, you remind me so much of Larry David's wife. Because like at the beginning, I would get like that I was more than once I've gotten like, you remind me of Cheryl Hines.
That's wild. I've never thought that.
Especially like my voice, I guess.
I don't know.
But it's funny because I didn't really watch Curb.
Right.
Curb. Oh no, Curbed is something else.
I think that's some kind of real estate
or
show
an app
or something.
No, I think it's like an.
Oh, is it the taxi
Hail the
app?
Taxis or something?
Yeah.
Okay, I never really watched Curb. Mm-hmm. I mean, I've seen it.
Yeah, of course.
I've seen like some episodes. Like I've seen like a lot of episodes, maybe.
Maybe there's one episode in particular that's your favorite.
I did think you were so funny on your episode of Curb.
Thank you, honey.
Do you remember which episode it was to tell the listeners if they want to check you out?
I want to say it was the first episode of the 7th season.
Okay.
I played Larry's divorce lawyer.
It was really funny.
Yeah.
I really liked it.
That was fun. That was a fun time.
Yeah. I mean, I think you could have gotten a whole spinoff show, but...
I don't know about a whole spinoff show. They could have brought me back for another episode. It's not unheard of. Wait,
anyway.
I want to...
So yeah, I went to see Phantom. Okay, wait, finish what you're going to say.
Did you like it?
I don't think so.
It didn't stick in your mind?
There was like a big thing that happened like with the set or something.
The chandelier drops?
Yeah, something like that. And that was a spectacle, you know.
The Phantom of the Opera is here.
You know what is so funny? Now I'm realizing, I think I had this boyfriend in college that is very obviously was gay.
Right.
Now, like, I feel like, you know, because I remember like he gave me, and he was like so excited about this gift, a snow globe of Phantom of the Opera.
Wow. I wish you still had it.
I think I moved with it maybe once, and that was like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that was just not. But I saw a friend of mine from college this past week. Mm-hmm. She was in town she's good friends with Sam Pancake, who, if you don't know, is a very funny comedic actor. Yeah. I got to be on his podcast during COVID, but whatever. That's just a whole other situation where you would watch like old TV movies.
Yeah.
That's his podcast.
Like from the 80s, 70s and 80s.
Yeah. It was really fun. But anyway, Monica, my friend Monica, she knew this ex-boyfriend, and I was like, it is just like, I was like, he is gay, right? And she was like, yeah. Yeah. But like he definitely like married and had a child and stuff.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Wow. It happens. It does happen.
Yeah, it happens. Anyway.
It happened.
Anyway, that was that. I also never once Obama was elected and he started posting about like was it Sharia law?
Oh my God, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I got rid of him on
They're going to fill our phantom snow globes with sand.
Yeah, remember what was the panic about Obama, just that his name sounded exotic? Was that it?
Yeah, that he wasn't born in this country. He was born in Kenya. He was going to be like a sleeper agent. Of course it made him a Muslim.
Terrorism?
No, yes. It made him, everything about him made him a terrorist. His name, you start with his name and it's like, there's no way this guy was born in this country. And then you have to make up things to support that fact.
I mean, and then I can't.
Yeah, I know.
What did we live? I can't make sense of anything.
Don't worry, it's almost over. It's all almost over.
Like, we're going to die like tonight.
The planet Earth, yeah.
Do you think maybe the mental health thing is the climate change? Maybe everything is climate change.
That the climate change is kind of messing up people's minds?
Yeah, like intensifying people's like brain juice.
Oh, you think like it's not that we are reacting to it in an emotional way. It is that the change in climate is actually physically affecting our brains.
Yes.
That's an interesting and terrifying theory.
Yes. I think, something's going on because things are different.
I personally think that it's a lot of people are, as the system continues, our American system continues to harm people and not care about people. I think you have people that are seeing that in more stark reality. I count myself among those people. Like since the 2016 election, it definitely made me look at America in a way that I hadn't before. Mm-hmm. And I feel like better for that, because it makes me realize that there is more suffering in this country than I realized. Mm-hmm. But then I think it's also the people that don't want to see that. They don't want to see that they're being screwed over by the system that they have been told to put their faith in, meaning, capitalism or whatever, that everybody has the same shot and blah, blah, blah. And it's just not true.
It's not true.
Yeah. The American dream is it's just like if it ever was true, it's become
if
a
it
lie.
ever was true, it's gone, or it may have always been a myth. I don't know
Exactly.
the truth.
Yeah.
I do think the American dream has existed for some people. I mean, Barack Obama, maybe,
Sure.
Like if that's like on paper what it was supposed to look like or whatever. But yeah, like it's definitely, but like we're in show business and we know like it's not a meritocracy. Like, like you can figure that out on your own or whatever.
At least though with that, with show business, at least it's more amorphous. You know what I mean? You might think somebody's a better actor than somebody else that's hugely successful. But if people like that hugely successful person, it's like, well, what are you going to do? It's,
right, like
they're not. They don't care
because art is subjective or whatever.
The people that enjoy that person are not thinking this person's a bad actor. They're like, I like this guy, I like this woman, whatever.
Right.
But the thing that really bums me out is that America is just every man for himself, and the fact that we just don't take care of each other. There's no system in place to take care of other people.
But like, it doesn't have to be like that. We're such a rich country.
It doesn't, but there's more than half the country doesn't like that. They don't like that idea. It's like, why should I help this person out? And if you're starting there.
I don't think it's more than half the country. I think it's rigged so that.
That's true.
The smaller half gets to decide. That's what I think.
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
I think that there are just certain, like the way that the Electoral College has landed today because people have moved, like concentrated on.
Of course, that's true.
In urban,
Yeah.
And I also feel like it's kind of like this whole thing with infrastructure today. I like that we're kind of getting into like deep talk, actually. This is like my jam. The whole infrastructure thing today that like I can see down the road how that could ostensibly heal the country like in a crazy way. Like I know it'll take like a long time, but you got to put in the work or whatever.
Yeah.
But because like the stupid fucking fossil fuel industry prevented this country from having like trains and stuff.
High speed rail. Yeah.
And it has like isolated certain pockets of the not isolated but concentrated
Absolutely.
I should say, like certain populations as opposed to the population being like more heterogeneously spread out or whatever.
I think,
and it's so fucked up because we there was like a minute where there could have been a better promise of what America could be, but we have all like isolated in our cars and concentrated in cities where we can make money, because we can't, if we could just like, I don't know, that's why I feel like the infrastructure thing really is I'm so behind it. Like, let's just throw our money at that instead of wars because.
Oh my God. I mean, I would love that. And I think it would connect people more. I mean, the perfect example of the isolation thing with the cars is Los Angeles, where there is some public transit here.
But no one wants
Exactly.
Well, now, I don't know if you've been following the local news. I get the LA Times. Mm-hmm. So I'm like way into the LA news lately, like, because I've kind of like tried not to be as like looking at all of the news at one time or whatever. Yeah. So I'm like, what can I do like locally or whatever? but there's been this rash of violent attacks.
Oh, I heard about this. I think you told me about it.
Yeah, that they're like just like on public transportation, and people now are scared. They weren't like loving to take it before.
No. But the thing is, and this is what I was going to say, is that in New York, everybody takes the subway.
Yeah, like we were just in New York, and well, I would say I took the subway a lot.
Well, I had a bunch of shit to carry, but
I love the subway.
The reason I say that is because this is also true. I think in most of New York, you are around all kinds of people all the time, so you feel like a city. It doesn't feel like
it doesn't feel
here,
you don't feel as vulnerable here. Like
every neighborhood here feels like a separate city.
Yeah, like I mean, you don't feel as vulnerable. Like here, you can be walking alone for a really long time in the dark.
Yes,
and I know there's parts of New York where that is true.
Yeah,
but like if you're just talking like Manhattan in general, like you can be kind of like in and among like other people, and maybe that's a false sense of safety. I don't know.
Well,
but
I mean, you're not really safe anywhere in America.
That's true.
But what I'm saying is, if we had in Los Angeles, if we had put in place a better public transit system from the beginning before the cars took over.
Yes.
And just made it so that there's certain places of this city that are never going to have public transit.
What's so crazy about LA is I think that there
used to be, yes.
Like a trolley car and all this stuff.
Yes. And then, forget it. It's Chinatown. Like, big business came in, the big oil came in and shut all that shit down. And it was the tire companies and the oil companies that made it so that all of that went to shit. So now we have minimal public transportation, but because it's not as wide-ranging as the one in New York.
Yeah.
And we've all been conditioned to get cars if we can get cars.
Yeah.
We don't get to intermingle that much. It's still it's such a segregated city unless you make the effort to go and, try to get out with other people. But even then you don't have that much opportunity as you do in New York.
Right. New York, you can have sort of like a spontaneous interaction. Oh, just perfect example of this. So in New York, you had a show that night and you were preparing in the room. And so I was like, I'm going to go.
I was doing my vocal exercises and my jumping jacks.
And so I was like, I'm going to go grab some lunch. And so I go and I perch at the bar at this restaurant, and I'm sitting there eating my lunch by myself, and there's two ladies to my left, and then there's a guy and a lady to my right, and the bartender and everything, and just life is happening. And then there's some conversation between me and the two ladies to my left about I had taken the last sugar in the raw for my tea in the thing, and she was like, "Oh, may I have some of your sweetener sugar?" And I passed it and I said, "Just so you know, I took the last sugar in the raw." And they were like, "Oh my God, how could you?" Da da da. Anyway, so we struck up this full conversation. We were just chatting, and they were delightful. They seemed to be in their 60s maybe, and they were meeting because they work for this nonprofit. And Linda, she was a lawyer, and she helps the nonprofit, with events, and and then they started asking me questions about me. I mean, we were just full on embroiled in conversation, and then Linda was like, "I need to ask you what to do about this lady. She sent me this text." We're all like, "Oh." And
you didn't tell me that part.
Well, I didn't really have time, I guess. I was just living my life. And so, I was like, "Well, I'm just visiting. I'm here from LA. My husband's in town for work. He's a comedian, da da da." And then they were like, "Oh my God, tell us." And I was like, "Well, his show's tonight. It's in Brooklyn." They're like, "We live in Brooklyn." And, and then the bartender was like, "I grew up in Brooklyn, and my girlfriend's visiting from Austin, and she loves comedy. should I bring her tonight? I was like, yeah, you should come. It's at 10 o'clock, like in Brooklyn at the Bell House. So like I was like selling tickets to your show and everything. And then, and they freaking came to the show.
Yeah.
So like later
amazing.
that night, they like show up, and then like I introduced him to like my whole crew and everything. And it was like this whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
And, but I just feel like that's such a New York thing. Like you could never run into someone in LA and say, come to this thing the same night. Like it would take so much like planning.
Exactly. Yeah. And I feel like you also wouldn't trust the person if they said they would go.
Well, that's true. Like they might say like they would go, but like you will never see them again.
Yeah.
You know, they're like, oh, your show? I'm coming to your show.
I love that you did that. And that was a really sweet and funny thing when you showed me the picture of you guys together.
Oh yeah. Like everyone, because I was sitting in like the booth with our crew, you know, like all of our friends, like up on the pedestal booth by the sound booth.
I'll say it so you don't have to. The VIP section.
Anyone let me VIP section? I mean, so I got like they got to come up and sit up there too, and so I was like introducing them to everyone.
Yeah, that's
and
great.
they were like super into it. Have you ever had like what's your like most? Do you have interactions with strangers when you go out in the world? How do you conduct yourself out in the world when no one's looking? I'm just curious.
I'm introverted when I go out in the world. You know, I kind of keep to myself, and I will be friendly if somebody talks to me.
Right.
You know, but I've always been that way. And it was something that I always admired in my, like my cousins who live next door to me, that you would see them, if you were at a bar and you saw them standing at the bar talking to somebody, you would assume they've been friends with that person for decades.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They just were, they just moved about the world that way. Yeah. Yeah. They could talk to anybody, and, you know, I feel like I can sometimes summon that, but it doesn't come naturally to me.
Well, like, I feel like when we're out together, like sometimes I do it and you're like maybe secretly squeezing my hand, like not to.
The only thing...
I think I know which one you're thinking of.
The only thing is I don't want you to tell people while I'm there that I am a comedian.
But then they'll ask, like, oh, what do you guys do? And what am I supposed to say? Like, my husband speaks in front of crowds.
But they don't ask. You offer it. That's the thing.
I thought you were gonna bring up that time we were in Palm Springs at that like weird like 1960s.
Oh, that place.
Like
that couple?
The mid-century hotel.
Yeah.
And that couple was like, kind of like, they were just everywhere we were at the same times. And it was like so basically it was this
here's
hotel.
What it was. They were just there the entire time. So we would go, if we went out to dinner or something, we're like, oh, we'll go to the pool later. They would be there. They were always there.
Yeah. And this was like this little like hotel that was like one of those like, you know, modified motor inn, kind of like all one story, like U-shaped.
Do you think it's still there?
Yes, it is.
It is? Okay.
The Orbit Inn. Yeah. I loved staying.
It was cool.
I loved staying there, but like I think there's only like 7 rooms or 10 rooms or something.
Yeah, it's very small. Yeah.
So like you kind of stay there, and the little U shape around the pool, like you're sharing it with everyone, which is, but like we were kind of there on an off season. Mm-hmm. So it didn't feel like, you know, like Palm Springs, now you go anytime.
Yeah.
It's so overrun with people.
Yeah.
Fucking everywhere gets discovered. I'm so over that. Do you not feel that way about everywhere?
Yeah, it's inevitable. But
why? It's not inevitable. It feels like our population is blowing up. That's what it feels like.
No, come on. It's because when something is good, the word gets around. You know what I mean? Because look, we used to do that deal at that one hotel. I will not name it, but that one hotel. Every year in the dead of summer, they'd have these good deals for rooms.
Yeah.
And then after a while, they realized, people are just going to come. So,
no, but they ran the deal last year, remember?
Oh,
again.
Yeah.
But the deal was like first of all, it was double the price, but it was still like a fourth of what it normally costs.
Yeah.
And you had to book it in like you had 48 hours to book it.
Right.
And you had to prepay.
Yeah.
So you like couldn't cancel it.
Yeah. So we didn't do it.
No, I did it.
Last year?
Yes.
No.
And you were supposed to go with me.
Oh, that's right.
And I
forgot about
and
that.
I like it was one of those things where like I had 48 hours to get it. And I was like, I'm going to get this because this place never is this cheap. Cause we used to like stay there a lot, like for cheap.
Yeah.
And then like cheap, like $99 a night cheap.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. It was great.
It was so fucking great. And then I got the deal and then I was like, hey, I paid for this weekend. Like, you have to go with me on this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can't plan anything. Like, we're going. And then...
Just to be clear, I wanted to go.
Yeah, but like... Like
it's not a thing where you did this and then you ordered me to go. I also wanted to go.
I know, but like sometimes you say yes to things and you're like, but I have the show at the whatever, Dynasty Typewriter or whatever. And then I'm like, don't say yes to anything. Like, this is it. Mm-hmm. We're doing this because I got this deal.
Yeah.
And I had to prepay. And then at the last minute, you got offered a gig that paid money.
Right.
Like, it wasn't like...
like somebody's live podcast.
Yeah, like it was like, we're offering you money.
Was it Criminal Minds?
No, it was like for Ring Doorbell. It was an endorsement.
Oh,
it was,
that thing, yes.
It was like during the strikes and it was like a strike. It was like
It was a strike-friendly...
It was a strike-friendly...
Project. And it was good money and it was like, we're saved.
Yeah, because like commercial acting was not on a strike last year.
Yeah. And this was technically... A branded thing
for Ring Doorbell.
Yeah.
And you're like, I got offered this and it shoots like the weekend.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God. Okay. I'll either go by myself or I will take a girlfriend. Mm-hmm. And I took Samantha and we had like a really nice week. And when we got there, they even let me, cause I had booked specifically a king sized bed and they let us have like a double bedroom, a 2-bedroom.
That's great.
And we just like took our laptops and like worked and it was so great. Like we had like the nicest, most relaxing weekend ever.
But I mean, it would have been nicer if it was me.
Well,
right?
we like I canceled our dinner reservation. Like we just ate like Chinese food in town. Like we didn't do like dates or anything.
Yeah. No,
but we
fun.
did have like drinks in the hotel bar. We did that.
Yeah.
We did do that.
Yeah.
And that was like really fun.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Did you go to that weird new bar that they...
No.
Right. You went to the bar proper.
Lobby.
Yeah,
we just did like the lobby
so
bar and we had like really tasty drinks and we like it was like so fun.
We're about to take a break, but let me tell the story because I don't think I've told it on here. I don't think we've talked about this on here of who we saw at the Orbit Inn.
I think we did.
You think we have?
Early in early Stay of Homekins days, but I think you should talk about it again because,
So we check into this place. This is our first trip to Palm Springs.
Was it the Orbit Inn? We go together.
Yes, we had never been there together before.
But I had been there before.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we went
to
go
to the Orbit Inn.
The Orbit Inn, and it's very charming. We were checking in, and the person behind the guy who runs the place is telling us about it and how it was restored and blah 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 blah. And
sorry.
He said, I think you brought up Huell Hauser. And he said,
because
I've been trying to get him to come here. And, I really want him to see it.
Because he lives in Palm, when he was alive.
Yes.
He's no longer.
He might be there as a ghost. I don't know.
Yeah, but he lived in Palm Springs.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so we said, that would be great. Of course, Huell Hauser, who did California's Gold on public television.
Yeah, he was like, for those who don't know, Huell Hauser was a PBS, a kind of a local Californian PBS fixture.
Yes.
Who famously had this travel show called California's Gold.
It just explored all of California.
Only California. Yeah. Like that was his expertise. And California is a huge state. And so it was like a never ending, like it was a great racket. Like I need to.
Absolutely. So the guy's telling us about the amenities there. And, out by the pool, we have this little bar and there's pretzels and popcorn, stuff like that. And so we say, great, we go get into our swimming costumes. And then we get in the pool and we're hanging out there and it's so nice. And then we hear behind us the owner saying to someone, and we have this bar here and there's like pretzels and popcorn. And then we hear a voice go, popcorn. And we turn around and it's fucking Huelhauser.
But if you don't know who Huelhauser is, he has a very distinctive way of talking.
Yes, and he was always very excited about everything.
Exactly the way that Paul did it.
He was so excited about everything that people would show him. And so it was just like he's on the clock, baby. And he's just taking a look at the place. And he has to express like popcorn. What an amazing idea.
Popcorn. And we were in the pool and Paul's eyes, like if I could tell you, like he locked eyes with me and his eyes like lit up and
he was so excited.
And he was like, that's Huelhauser.
Yeah.
He's like, and I was like, what? Because I was like, what? And he's like, Huelhauser. And I'm like, oh my God.
We turn around. He looks just like he looked on TV. He looked like he was doing an episode of the show.
Wait, now I want to tell the story when we were there with Paget. Have I told this?
I don't think so. Well, we're going to take a break. And
but
then
I
when we come
want to
back.
tell the story about.
No, we'll tell the story when we come back.
It's crazy to me that we have not told it. Or maybe we have.
Who knows? Look, we're getting into freedom territory now where we're telling the same story.
Or maybe we can find a new angle on it. Please stay tuned from our special. We have some special sponsors this time. I think you're going to want to listen.
I think you're going to want to listen.
Hey, Paul.
Hey, Janie.
How are you?
I'm well, thank you. And you?
Pretty good. You know what?
What?
I love that t-shirt you're wearing.
This t-shirt?
It is so cute.
It really is. And you know what? It's from Kinship Goods, and they sold more than one, and they're selling more now.
What? Kinship Goods?
Kinship Goods from Charleston, West Virginia, but they ship to the world.
So let me see. This t-shirt is so comfortable looking. What is going on in there?
It couldn't be more comfortable, and I feel comfortable with what it depicts, which is a adorable duck-billed platypus wearing sunglasses, so he's cool, in his natural habitat with a speech bubble saying, "I'd rather be duck-billed than red-pilled." I know, right?
That is absolutely hilarious.
It truly is. And you can have this response directed at your face if you buy this shirt.
Oh, my heavens. And tell me about that ball cap you're wearing. Is that a little Piggly Wiggly guy in the same sunglasses?
Well, we don't like to say it's a Piggly Wiggly guy because that's a copyright infringement, but it is a familiar looking pig wearing sunglasses and a little hat.
I love it. You just look absolutely like $1,000,000.
I'm a cool guy and I feel good about being cool.
Did you say Kinship Goods?
Yes. Did I stutter? Kinshipgoods.com.
And would it be under the Stay F HOMEKINS merch tab?
It would.
Oh my gosh, I'm going to tell all my friends to go there, and anyone who happens to overhear this conversation should go there too and get their t-shirt and ball cap.
Tell them it's not just a great place to get official Stay F HOMEKINS merchandise, but all kinds of gifts and things for the people you love, including yourself, which you should do.
Kinshipgoods.com.
Hi, everyone. It's me, Paul F. Tompkins, I think. And I want to tell you that my variety show, Varietopia, has a few more dates coming up on the road. June 7th, we're going to be at the Fitzgerald Theater in St. Paul, Minnesota. Beautiful theater. I am thrilled that we are getting to do the show there. And tickets have gone pretty fast. There's not that many left, and it's a big place. So we want everybody to be there, so make sure you get your tickets. And then the next night, June 8th, we're going to be in Chicago, Illinois at the Riviera, an even bigger place. And those tickets are also selling very well. So please join us in St. Paul and Chicago. But first, May 26th, Sunday, May 26th, 7 p.m. Pacific. We're back at our home base, Lodge Room in Los Angeles, and we are live streaming it. Now, look, we've all been burned on live streams before. Pretty much, they suck. But we have a fantastic crew, 5 cameras. We got a sound mixer. This thing looks and sounds terrific. You will feel like you're there. We're thrilled to be doing this. So please check that out. You can get all tickets at paulftompkins.com/live. So remember, May 26th, live stream of Varietopia. Don't miss it.
Oh Oh, we're back. Thanks to our special official sponsors.
Yes, God bless them.
We really love them. All right. So I wanted to tell this story. I think I told it before, but I can't remember.
Yeah.
Because, I'm that age. And also, climate change. Remember what I said
That's
it was?
right. And now it's a fact. It went from a theory to fact in 2 segments.
I'm sticking to this. In fact, if I were to start a cult, my cult would be all about that.
Why isn't it affecting all of us in the same way, though?
Because everyone's different,
So
just
true.
in general.
But I mean, other illnesses affect people in the same way.
No, that's not always true.
There's not that much variation. You know what I mean?
I don't know. Well, COVID affected people in all kinds of different ways.
But a variation of the same ways.
Oh, then I think we are all experiencing the same thing, which is madness.
I see. And we each go mad in our own individual way. Isn't that true?
I mean, I do. That's for sure.
Don't you find that happy families are all the same, but unhappy families are all different?
I've never heard that. No, I've never heard that before in my life,
I think
actually.
it's Tolstoy. Either Tolstoy or Dostoevsky. One of them Russian guys.
I mean, I guess. Sure, if that works for you, dude. All right.
Put him on blast. Whoever he is.
All right. So we were in Palm Springs with Paget and her husband, Steve. And we went to this there's this old school steakhouse in Palm Springs, which is is it called Melvin's?
I was going to say that. I think it is Melvin's, yeah.
It's like a Rat Pack. It's like, like one of these like vestiges of the Rat Pack.
The glory days of
Palm Springs.
Yeah.
Like you're supposed to order steak Diane there. Like they prepare it tableside. But the thing about this, it's like a steakhouse attached to like an inn. And then there's this dark piano bar.
Yeah. So
that's adjacent to it.
And before we went there, I believe it was Paget told us we have to dress up because they have a strict dress code there.
Yeah.
So we get all
I forgot about this part. So we go there. Yeah. We're all like dressed up and there were just like people in like polo shirts or whatever.
Sweats. We were like the youngest people there by a decade or two.
I don't know. But then when we went in, there were like, you're right. But there was a little bit more variation in the dark piano bar afterwards.
Yeah.
So we're having our like, weird dinner with, like the menu that hasn't changed since 1951 or whatever, and we're like loving life and it's like well lit in the restaurant. And then we're like, we got to go to the piano bar afterwards because we can just hear the tinkling of the piano, and like they're having so much fun in there. And
seemingly.
Yeah. And so we're like, we got to go in there afterwards.
Yeah.
So we finish our dinner and the 4 of us go and we're watching the piano player.
Yeah.
And
We find seats at a little table. There's a guy behind the piano wearing a sparkly fedora doing some Billy Joel.
I mean, he's like doing Billy Joel. He did some Lionel Richie too.
Oh, I don't remember that. What did he do? Easy Like Sunday Morning?
Oh, maybe. Oh my God. I hope. No, I feel like he was doing a little bit more like upbeat numbers.
Dancing on the Ceiling?
He might have been doing dancing on the
Tumbliti
ceiling.
Setemoya?
No, he definitely didn't do that one. But all I know is like we're like all in this dark piano bar and we're drinking. We're having a night.
Yeah.
A little bit.
We're having a night.
We're having a night and I'm like bopping to the tunes and Paul's to my left and Paget's to my right and her husband Steve's is to her right. And there's this older couple sitting directly in front of us, which brings me to a recent story that I want to tell on the podcast.
Okay.
That is not connected to this about being behind interesting people this week at a venue, but that's a whole other story. So anyway,
and these people I'd say were in their
60s,
late 60s.
Yeah, late 60s. Yeah.
Don't you find it's harder to tell now? Because people age differently now.
I know. Well, and also
we're aging.
Like we never want to think that when we see older people that they're our age.
I know.
And so we're always like topping it off. We're always like, they must be in their 90s.
Yeah, this was 10 years ago. We thought these people were ancient.
They were in front of us.
But to be fair, they were clearly hard livers.
They were like hammered.
Yeah.
They were so fucking hammered. And like, she would stand up sometimes and then the guy would like pull her down.
Yes.
Like she was kind of like that kind of like, how like you're swaying to music being played, but if you're hammered,
You look like you're about to fall down.
Yeah, you're like kind of like, you know, like a little bit messy, like a train wrecky. And he was like, come on, like pulling on her and stuff. And we were all like side eyeing each other, like, oh boy, like what's going on with them or whatever. And then at some point they like spoke in hushed, intense tones to one another. Like he said something to her or something like.
Yeah, I think he said something to her, like leaned over and said something in her ear. And then she looked at him and gave him like a dirty look.
Yeah.
And then they got up and left.
Yeah, and then they had words about it though.
Yeah.
But like hushy words maybe. But it was like, and they got up and left kind of messily.
Yeah.
You know, and then we all looked at each other like, okay, I guess their night is over. And then we're watching the piano player, and then Paget leans over to me. Sorry, this is maybe one of the funniest things.
First she says, we have to get out of here.
Yeah, no, that's what I was going to say.
Okay.
She leans over to me and she goes, we have to leave. And I was like, what? She's like, we have to leave. And I'm like, what? And so like I turn to Paul, I'm like, Paget says we have to leave. And then we get like Steve's attention and she's like, we got to go. And I'm like, what's going on? Wait, did she tell us there or after?
She told us there.
And we're like looking at her quizzically.
Yeah.
And we're like, what's going on? What's going on? And she's like, that woman pissed on the chair and there's a puddle of urine in front of me. And I don't want to be sitting behind it anymore. And we're like, got it. Okay.
And we looked and the chair was wet.
And it was sopping wet. And we quietly filed out.
Yeah.
And then there was a big giant hole in the audience where the couple in front of us was, and then the four of us were. And then we went back to where we were staying. And then
we haven't been back to Melvin since.
I have.
No. Are you kidding me?
Like maybe twice even.
You're going to turn into her.
I love it there. I fucking love it there. And you know what? The piano bar, worth it.
And you tell that story every time, right? To whoever you're with? But do you tell them after? Do you leave? By the way?
I don't know.
I know if I told you this before.
It might be that I have not told this story to anybody until just now. I fucking love that place. And you know what? I love a piano bar. I'm not going to lie.
I love a piano bar.
I fucking love a piano bar.
Yeah. Next time we're in New York, we should go to the Carlisle and go back to that.
Oh my God. You know, it's my favorite bar in New York. Bemmelman's.
Of course.
I was just there in July. I went by myself and I met a couple.
Sounds like fun.
Remember when you were like sick? Because we went and then you got COVID.
I had COVID.
He had COVID. And
COVID
I didn't.
19.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
And we were stuck in that hotel room and then I didn't get it. And yet, like, I think, like, you get it, like, easily. I don't understand why, like, sometimes you get it easily and sometimes you don't, whatever.
Yeah, I know.
Anyway,
and both times barely felt anything.
So I went to Bemmelman's and I struck up a conversation with this couple at the bar.
Mm-hmm.
And they were telling me, like, their whole life story and everything.
They didn't say they liked your vibe, did they?
No.
They didn't say they saw you from across the bar and liked your vibe?
No, they didn't, but I did take a photo with them. And then I showed Catherine, my friend Catherine, and as you all might know, Catherine from 3 Minute Review, in case there are any crossover fans.
Our sister podcast.
I know that we have some crossover fans.
That's exciting.
Because Catherine has mentioned it and vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
She pointed out that the guy was wearing a polo shirt that was like some brand, like a Fred somebody.
Fred Siegel?
No. Some brand that's like a known, like the white supremacist guys wear.
Oh, Jesus.
Like.
Oh, wait, I think
Fred
it is.
Stoller? Is that somebody?
Is it Ben Sherman? I remember
it wasn't Ben
this.
Sherman. It was like one of these brands that. Yeah. But I'm telling you, these people.
Fred Siegel's just a store. That's right.
Yeah, Fred Siegel is like a LA department store. But no, I don't think he knew.
It's like the Proud Boys wear this shit.
Yes. And she's like, why is he wearing a blah, blah, blah shirt? And I was like, what? Because I don't think these people knew that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like they didn't know that whatever polo shirt.
Fred Perry.
Yes, that's Perry. What it was.
Wow. Then the first thing that came up is Fred Perry withdraws polo shirt adopted by the Proud Boys.
I would be surprised if these people were those people. They were
Yeah.
like an older couple
Yeah.
at Bemmelman's bar.
Yeah. I think you're probably right. I think that's safe to assume.
You know, like
that he was not an aging proud boy.
No, like I bellied up to the bar by myself.
I won't masturbate.
Is that what they do?
That's one of their things. And then I think you get jumped into the gang by you have to name as many breakfast cereals as you can while they're beating the shit out of you or something like that.
What?
God damn.
Are you for real?
What a dumb country.
Hi,
Cuckoo. Cuckoo, did you miss me while I was gone?
Yeah. Yes,
I'm trying to think if I have any fun stories.
Wait, no,
from...
I want to tell my story.
Oh, okay.
Wait,
I didn't know you had another one.
No, about being behind, because I find myself sometimes behind interesting people.
Okay.
A lot of times.
Right.
So anyway, but speaking of Catherine, I do have to shout out because Catherine, I went and saw her. She's been practicing with her band, a band.
That's right.
She taught herself to play drums over COVID. Mm-hmm. She'd always wanted to play an instrument and hadn't for lots of reasons that she can talk about personally. But like, she decided that she was going to overcome her blocks and she learned to play drums. And now her and her band have this like, they're like a Lenny Kravitz cover band.
I don't remember how they ended up being a Lenny Kravitz cover
They
band.
kind of told the story, and I didn't fully understand it.
Yeah.
They're called the Flyaways, and if you listen to our bonus content behind our paywall at our
really should
at weekendwater.com, weekendwater.substack.com is where you find it. Their band did a Vanderpump Rules punk, like a jam band version.
That's right.
For one of our episodes, and they played us out on one of our. But anyway, it was like really fun, and she did a really good job. So I'm just shouting her out. That is not about being behind people. So I was gonna say, because we usually do at the end, if you're new to this podcast, we'll say like things that we're recommending. Mm-hmm. So I watched this Netflix series, and you watched it too, and like all of our friends have watched it, and they have kind of like gone a little bit bananas over it because it was such a unique experience of television.
Yeah,
where this comedian went through like kind of living out his real life trauma, and part of that was attracting a stalker into his life. And it's called Baby Reindeer, and it's on Netflix. It has a lot of heavy subject matter, so I only recommend it if you are willing to go down that road.
Yeah, and you know what? Because I watched it without knowing much about it.
I didn't know much about it.
That's all I knew.
I knew Stalker because Paget told me Stalker and to watch it.
And I thought it was maybe more of a comedy than it was. Not to say that it's not funny. There's a lot of funny stuff in it.
Dark comedy, though.
Yes,
it's all dark comedy. It's
dark.
not jokes.
Yes.
Yeah. And I watched it. I watched it with my mom because I was visiting her in South Carolina, and we both like just binged it.
Yeah.
Like we couldn't stop watching it because it was so compelling, and it is a true story of what he went through. Yeah. And so
you told me about it after you watched it with your mom, and then because I was here alone, I watched it all in one day.
Oh, you did?
I knew nothing about it.
It's kind of hard not to binge it because
it's gripping. Yeah,
it's gripping
for sure. And I didn't know until afterwards that it was a true story, and that the guy that it happened to was the star of it.
For some reason, I knew that somehow. Because I feel like when Paget said to watch it, she was like, it's about this comedian and his story of a stalker or whatever. And I was like, oh, I don't know about that. And then I started it and I was like, oh, this is unlike anything I've ever seen before.
Yeah.
So I kind of went down the road with it. And I found, this actress who plays the stalker, her name in real life is Jessica Gunning. And I think it's probably one of the greatest acting performances.
She's really terrific.
That definitely in television this year of what I've seen.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like she brought this woman to life with so much empathy, but also without pulling back from the ugliness. Don't you think? I was just so impressed with her acting. Like, I just thought her artistry was something to behold. And I thought the writing was fucking tight. Like there were moments I gasped.
Yeah, me too.
In the episode. And then the final moment in the episode, I shot up out of my seat. Like the final moment of the whole series, which I don't relay on here because people might want to watch it.
Yeah, of course.
But like that final moment, I was like on the couch and when that happened, I sat up and I was like, oh my God. Oh my God. And then when it ended, I was like, what did we just watch? Like to my mom, I was like, what the fuck did we just watch? I think we just watched a fucking masterpiece. Like, only because it was so honest and well executed as well.
Yeah.
But it was also like unflinching.
I was just going to say that. Yeah.
It was unflinching, but it wasn't like trauma porn.
No, it really felt like a journey where this guy was already kind of lost.
Yes.
And then he experiences this trauma, and then it's him trying to not only deal with that, but it's him trying to also figure out who he is as it goes on while dealing with this trauma. It's really masterfully done, and it feels really human, you know?
Yeah.
Like it's messy and it's complicated and it's pretty I felt like it was pretty
vulnerable.
It was pretty vulnerable and pretty honest. Like he's not easy on himself, and
no.
You know, he doesn't make himself out to be a hero, I don't think.
No, or a victim.
Yeah.
I like that it is a vulnerable story from like a man.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we need to encourage more men to examine themselves in the way that the journey that he went on.
Yeah.
Because whether or not he comes out better for it or not, it's almost like it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But it's inspiring other people to try.
Yeah, which is really wonderful to see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just felt like, you know, like it was like anti-toxic masculinity in a way, because it was about a guy like really fucking up, like really making bad decisions and not knowing how to live, how to be.
Yeah.
What I thought was also kind of wild about the story, and we never actually talked about the show. This is kind of like us talking about it, but for the first time. It felt clear to me, like obviously there was artistic license taken, that a lot of the experience he had was when he was younger, but he is the age he is now,
right,
playing himself as like an early 20s.
Yeah.
But they don't refer to it.
No.
But you can tell like this is like a young man kind of like doing these things.
Yes.
But it's a real adult man playing the part.
Yeah.
Like reenacting a younger version of himself, kind of.
Yeah.
But they're not really talking about it like that.
No, and it works.
It totally works.
I hadn't thought about that aspect of it. That's
well,
true.
it's very theatrical because this is someone who worked out this story as a one-man show and had taken it to Edinburgh Festival and like won the festival and all of this stuff. So it was just this one-man show where he was like talking to like a bar stool. And then then he wrote the scripts.
Yeah.
And the reason I know some of this too is, so this is where I'm going with this. So it's award season, guys, in LA, which is, you know, so for like $200 a year, you can be a member of what's called the Television Academy. And if you join this
august institution, let's say it,
then you get like screeners and you get to vote on the Emmys and like all of these things. And they have all of these events called FYC events, which means for your consideration. And they're basically doing like a lot of courting of like getting your vote and like exposing the membership to voting for their projects and stuff like that. So I've like finally was like, I'm going to get my fucking membership money worth this year.
Yeah.
And I'm going to attend some FYC events. And I got into specifically the Baby Reindeer FYC event. And I was very excited to go because I wanted to see the actors in person and hear about their process. I was like very interested in their process. Well, this is neither here nor there, but like the night before, a friend of ours was in town from London. Izzy. Shout out to Izzy.
Shout out to Izzy.
Who was like, she was going to see this Netflix as a joke show, this Australian comedian, Sam Campbell. So me and Aaron Ginsberg and Krista Carpenter were all going to meet up with Izzy and go see this Australian comedian that we never seen. He's on Taskmaster and stuff.
Yeah, he's so funny. I just discovered him on Taskmaster and really liked him a lot. And he's very much a, not that he's not, funny to other people, but he's a big comic in the UK. Like people, like comics love him.
He does sort of like conceptual comedy. It's not like personal necessarily.
No,
there's like moments of like, he is a subject in a way, but he's not, if that makes sense.
He's got a very interesting brain, and his creativity is really wild and really fun.
Yeah, he's kind of stream of consciousness the way he comes off on stage, which I was going to try and tell you. It was like, what was funny is like in Baby Reindeer, they do some comedy. He does comedy in it that is like super conceptual.
Yeah.
And it's terrible in the show on purpose, I think. But I feel like it was like trying to like kind of be symbolic for the kind of comedy like someone like Sam Campbell does in a way.
Yeah, but I mean, a little more gimmicky. Like the guy in Baby Reindeer was a little more gimmicky.
Yeah. But it was definitely like not personal or
no.
Or until, whatever. Yeah. Okay. So anyway, we're going to see Sam Campbell and I was excited to see this comedian. We sit down in our seats and literally in the row in front of us is the fucking cast of Baby Reindeer. And we're like freaking out. We're like, oh my God, that's Baby Reindeer. And I'm like, oh man, I'm going to the FYC event tomorrow night. Like, I can't believe this, da da da. And at one point, Sam Campbell like referenced Baby Reindeer in his act, and we saw them all freak out,
right?
Like secretly to each other, like, "Oh my god, he just said Baby Reindeer."
Do you think he must have known they were there?
Well, he was definitely talking to them after the fact.
Yeah.
Well, I guess he would probably know Richard Gadd because Richard Gadd is a comedian.
Maybe, yeah.
Well, what was so crazy is we'd all had a couple drinks, and Krista was like, went up to Jessica Gunning, and she was like, "I just want to tell you, your performance is so great. We're all fans over there." And she walked over to our table, and I was like, "I think you're so inspirational. I'm coming to see your panel tomorrow night." And I was so glad I got to say that because I was like, "What if she saw me at both things and she thought I was talking?" Anyway, that's my big story about being behind Jessica Gunning and Richard Gadd at a comedy show just randomly. Now, they did not pee on their seat. Is that what you were about to ask? I was just going to say,
did you look after they got up?
They didn't pee. They didn't pee on their seat. Because that could have really been like a weird thing to carry around as like knowledge.
Never meet your heroes. You know what I mean? They might stand up and you see that they've wet themselves.
You know what, though? Like, honestly, I would have been okay with it.
She would have earned it.
Because it was a long journey. Like, I said, when did you get in town? And she said, we just got in today.
Wow.
So I'm like, well, she could have been like really jet lagged or whatever. And
I've
she
done
might
that
have had
so
to.
many times, like on a long day. I've
like,
just wet
peed in
myself
somebody's
in public.
seat?
Yeah.
Pee in somebody's seat?
Not somebody's, mine.
Anyway, what a crazy town LA is, right? Like it's just a crazy town.
It's a crazy town, and aren't we lucky to live in this city of stars?
It's a crazy town.
We should probably wind it down. I want to say,
is that right?
Yeah, I think so.
You don't have any more? You don't have anything else you want to share?
No, I just want to. I will talk briefly about my road trip across this great land of ours.
I kind of want to know about the road trip because I know that you guys took a Sprinter van on your tour, and I am curious, like, who drove?
We all took turns driving.
How long did you drive?
The longest stretch, I drove twice.
In the dark or in the day?
I think both times in the day. No, we never drove at night, really.
Okay.
Yeah, because we would do the show at night and then the next day get up early and drive to the next town.
Okay, because I was worried about that one long day, like that you're going to
get
it.
Oh my God, that was from...
To Maine, right?
Yes, from New York to Maine.
I was worried about that.
That was our longest day for sure. That was a long day, but it was fine. It was really fine.
And you were okay driving a Sprinter van?
Yeah, it was fun. I really enjoyed it.
You did?
Yeah. The only thing that was weird about it truly was there's a rear view mirror, but you can only see the back of the van. You really have to use your side view mirrors to see behind you.
So there's not like a little camera in the back.
There is a camera in the back, so if you're parking, that's great, but there's not a camera that's on constantly.
Because, my car, I can switch the rearview mirror from camera or mirror.
Was this a setup just so you could brag about your car?
No, but I assumed in a Sprinter van they would have like
You know what?
a video.
I wonder if that was true and we didn't explore that option.
I doubt it was true.
We had a hard time connecting our phones to the Bluetooth.
Wait, you guys couldn't just plug it in?
No.
So, like, you mean like to play a playlist and stuff like that?
Yeah. There were outlets and USB ports on the van, which was great.
So who DJ'd?
Whoever was in the front, but we really didn't play the music throughout the whole thing.
Oh, you didn't?
No, we kept the music pretty low, actually.
Because people were chatting, probably.
Yeah, or doing their own thing. Some people were sleeping, some people were working. It was more for the driver.
Right. Right. But you didn't play like a podcast for the driver or anything like that? Because I feel like you on a road.
I listened to music.
You did want music.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You did want music.
Yeah.
Wait, remember that one time we went on the road trip with, and John Hodgman insisted on driving, which I was fine with.
Oh, yeah.
And he drove us to Massachusetts.
Yeah, when we did the Solid Sound Festival.
The Solid Sound Festival.
We drove from New York to Massachusetts.
And then he was like, oh, let's listen to this podcast about Charlie Manson.
Yes.
And it was You Must Remember This. It was so fun, though.
And we listened to it all the way up. It was great.
But he insisted on driving, which was fine with me.
Yes.
I didn't want to fucking drive a van.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but I just didn't.
Yeah, on our trip, nobody was a hero. We all took turns. And I really did enjoy it.
But then you're going on the road with Comedy Bang Bang, and Scott insists on...
Scott will not let anybody else drive.
Does he like it?
No, I think he's worried about insurance. He always says it's for insurance purposes.
That can't be true.
So that he will be the only person responsible. No, it's true.
But that's not how insurance
That's
works.
what he says. That's what he says.
Like, you can get other drivers on the...
Yeah, I know. That's what we did. We had like 4 different people that were on there. Did we have 5? Maybe we had 5. But I did get to drive the van into Philly, which was didn't strike me until we got within the city limits that what an amazing thing that was that, for years I didn't know how to drive, when I was living there. And now I am not only driving in, but it's for sold out shows for my variety show. And it was I was proud of myself.
You felt like an accomplished.
Yeah.
You felt like, wow, look how far I've come in the world.
Absolutely. It really struck me.
Like, I'm such a different person than I used to be. I've gained all these extra skills that I didn't have before.
Yeah.
That's really satisfying.
Yeah. Then at the end of the night, I had a weird meltdown. But that's another story that is none of your business.
Wow. I did not believe that you...
Just a fun little thing to leave the crowd with. But I would like to thank the people of Brooklyn, Waldoboro, Maine. People came from all over Maine because, not a lot of stuff like this goes there.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? It's
kind of far away. Maine seems like a hard place to get to.
Yeah. Portsmouth, New Hampshire, Boston, Massachusetts, Alexandria, Virginia, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Cleveland, Ohio. Thank you all. The crowds were all great. All the shows ended up being sold out. Everybody was terrific. It was such a really joyous experience. I had fun on stage every single night. Sometimes we did 2 shows a night and I was really tired and was like, I don't know. I feel like I left it all on the field, but it just happened. Like, I got in front of the audience and had a great time and,
they fed you. They filled your...
They did. And it's very, very meaningful to me because I love doing the show.
Yeah.
And I never thought I'd be able to tour with it. And special thanks to Jordan Katz, my musical director, who made this tour happen. He truly did.
Yeah, he put all the brain power.
All of this stuff together. He made it happen for sure. And I'm so grateful and so happy, and I can't wait to get back out and do this again. And I can't wait. We might do it again next year.
I caught it in Brooklyn.
Yes.
I went to... You did 2 different shows.
Yes. Friday and Saturday were 2 different shows.
Yes. And it was freaking awesome. Both nights. I really loved. But now you had a bigger band because you were...
Yes, in New York, because we have access to more people, we get to have a bigger band.
Yeah.
Yeah. But even with the
And the
even with the
band
4-piece
was-
band, let me tell you something.
It's still a big sound.
It's great.
It's a big sound. It's, you know,
They played the Rocky theme to open the show in Philadelphia, which was
That's
great.
hilarious.
Yeah. On May the 4th, we were in Alexandria. They played the Star Wars
I saw
medley.
Jordan Katz. If you follow Jordan Katz on Instagram, he did post some of these videos to his Instagram feed.
Yes.
Because I reposted the Star Wars
Yeah.
thing that they did.
Yeah.
And they
great.
even did the little the music inside the
cantina.
The cantina.
You got to do the cantina.
Yeah, he did the cantina. It was so cute.
Yeah.
It was totally cute.
What I really enjoyed was in front of it. That was from Soundcheck, that video. And in front of the audience kind of, they applauded for each little section. You know what I mean? It was really adorable.
Yeah.
It was great. Yeah. It was great. It's a lot of fun.
Was that in Cleveland?
That was in Alexandria, and then he played it again in Philly the next night.
Even though it wasn't May the 4th.
Yeah, but just because they worked it up, and it's like, let's do it again.
They did the Rocky theme.
Yeah.
And then they did that into Star Wars.
No, those are different. They just did Star Wars later in the show.
Oh, later in.
But they did the Rocky theme in Cleveland, and people loved it just as much.
Interesting.
People love Rocky, an underdog story. But listen, I want to say again, we have a few more dates on the road in St. Paul, Chicago, San Francisco, and Charleston, South Carolina. And then our next show is May 26th in Los Angeles, which will be live streamed. Do check it out. We got good guests. It's going to be a lot of fun. I mean, we always do.
When they check it out, where do they go for tickets?
PaulFTompkins.com/live.
That's in case you skipped through the commercials. But if you did that, I don't know why, because we made really cute commercials.
They were adorable.
Well, I have something I want to plug.
Sure.
So, guys.
Oh, yes.
Well, it hasn't come out yet, but the reason I'm plugging it now is because it will have come out before our next monthly episode.
Yes.
I did a part on Hacks season 3.
That's right.
Hacks is a series that stars Gene Smart and Hannah Einbinder, and it's about
it's on Max.
It's on Max. Yeah, it's on Max. So if you have the streaming service Max. First of all, I love the show. Like, I'm a fan of the show and have been since it started. Mm-hmm. But I have been auditioning for the show since it started. Like, kind of my little backstory is the show was created by 3 people, Lucia Aniello, Paul Downs, her husband, and Jen Stotsky or whatever. And Lucia Aniello, I briefly met in 2011 or 2013 or something. Mm-hmm. I had auditioned. This is so dumb, but I auditioned for this eBay commercial, and I got called back for it. And I went into the callback, and I was, guys, says a lot about society, but I was absolutely stunned that the director was like a young woman.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was not only stunned, I was fucking elated and delighted.
Yeah.
Like, it was an experience that like landed on me in such a way of like, yeah, of course a woman can be behind the camera. Mm-hmm. You know, like it was such a rarity for me who'd been like duking it out, pounding the pavement for so many years to be in front of a woman. Mm-hmm. Okay. And she was like so rad and cool, like in the callback that I was like, oh, I want to work with her. Like, I don't know why or when or whatever. Right. Or like, I hope I get this job. Like, it was like an eBay commercial and I hope I got it. Well, I didn't get it. But I was like, I got to find out who this person is. And I looked her up and she had like an email address on the UCB theater website.
Oh, wow.
Because I guess she did like a lot of UCB stuff or something. And I sent her, I was like, listen, I know I didn't get it. Like, you know, whatever. Like, I just wanted to let you know, like, I thought you were rad or whatever.
That's great, honey.
Like it was cool or whatever.
Yeah.
And
that's a very thoughtful thing to do.
Well, is it? I don't know. I never know.
I think it is.
I never know.
Yeah.
And she wrote back and she was like, oh, like you were great. You were too young. You look, and I'm like, uh-huh.
Why, if they're going to tell you didn't get a thing, they should always say it's for
someone
you
else.
You were like too talented. You were too good looking. Just say something like that.
Or just say like you both were awesome. It was a coin toss, and so wanted the other.
No, I think actively
blonde.
lie and build up my ego.
I don't know. And I was like,
too hot.
Whatever.
You're just too hot for this.
All I just know, I was like, I felt so seen that she wrote me back.
Yeah.
And then I was like, then she went on to like do Broad City. Like I watched that. I was like, oh, that's so cool. Oh, she's doing such cool like New York shit, Mm-hmm. And then Hacks came around, and I started auditioning for it like before, like for the pilot.
Oh yeah.
Like I auditioned for the pilot, and I was like, this part's not right for me, but whatever, And I like auditioned. I kept trying. I never. And then finally, I got this part, and it like Paul, you taped with me, if you remember.
I do. Yeah.
I think it was like we were in Charleston or something. Mm-hmm. It was only like 2 lines.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, 2 lines. and then like I got it, and then I went and I think you taped with me when we were there at Thanksgiving. Because then I like shot it in December, like a couple weeks later.
Okay.
Because we were there because you went and did Varietopia.
No. I don't remember doing it there, but you probably remember better than I would.
I remember because we were up in that bedroom and.
Right.
Yeah. And you helped me with it a lot. But anyway, the point is, I got to do it. It was like the dreamiest job ever. It was just one day. I know I'm like waxing poetic about this small part, but I play Betty. And it's in episode 105, which I think comes out in the next week or so.
Yeah, because are they doing them
two at a time? It looked like.
Yeah. So it'll be very soon.
Yeah, because there's already 4 out.
Yeah.
Right?
I think so.
1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. And so it was just like, I went. I got to the set. My scene was like with Jean Smart and another actress. And, like I only had 2 lines or whatever. And then I go and I like am conferring with Lucia and Jen Statsky and Paul Downs. And we started talking about the character, and they were like, listen, like essentially just, I was like pitching ideas. I was like, what if this or what if that? And they're like, yeah, essentially just like go, like we'll do 1 clean and then the rest we will just improvise.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh shit, really? And I was like, okay, all right. And I was like, Lucia, like I met you once before. And she's like, yeah, the eBay commercial. And I was like, yeah, she's like, I know I should have cast you and I'm sorry. And I was like, what are you talking about? I was like, I just wanted to let you know, like I'm always, and I couldn't even get it out.
It would
like
be funny if she thought that's why you were bringing it up. Like,
I think she kind of did. I swear to God, I think she kind of did.
Oh no.
Yeah, and so, and I don't know why, but I had like an amazing trailer. I think it was because there weren't that many guest stars on this particular episode, and so they were able to like just utilize somebody else's trailer, like a big name person's trailer for me. And although I didn't get to spend much time in it, we improvised like so much. They let me just like go off, and then they were like,
great.
Yeah, and I was like, and then they would throw me like ideas. Anyway, that's the last time I've worked. It's been fucking months. And so that's why I'm like clinging to this for dear life with like white knuckles.
Come on.
Like literally it has been so slow since the strikes.
Well,
a lot of people know this.
Oh yeah,
are in the industry.
It's been horrible.
It's been
horrible.
Sure. It's been like a real starvation. Flow.
Almost like they
before
were
the
mad
strike.
that we went on a strike.
I mean,
it's almost like reprisals. Who can say?
I feel like they're just like trying to correct their own mistakes on the backs of us.
If they see themselves as making mistakes,
because they overspent.
Which I don't think they do. Yeah. That's not going to stop. They overspend on the thing. This is too big a conversation. Look, I want to recommend.
My point is like, check out Hacks. I'm recommending
Yes,
Hacks.
that's
That's
the
my
point.
recommendation. I hope I'm not cut out of this show.
I don't think you will be.
Yeah, I don't think I will be. But
I would like to recommend a book by an author that I like named Tom Rob Smith. And he first came to my attention. He wrote, I think it was a trilogy set in Russia. The first one was called Child 44.
I read that one.
Yeah.
That was a long time ago. We both read that one.
Yeah. And he wrote 2 more books about that same character, that detective. And then I just looked like to see what has he done lately. And
What has he done for you lately?
well, for all of us, really. The literary world at large.
What has he done for you
What
lately?
has he done for the world at large, literary lately? And he has this book called Cold People, which is a really wild book.
Wait, can I guess what it's about?
Sure.
Is it about cryogenics?
No.
Never mind.
Just the one guess?
Yeah.
Okay.
I really thought it was about cryogenics.
It is about, I'm just going to say this because this is not a spoiler. This is like the earliest that the story really develops. There's an alien takeover of Earth,
I'm on board.
and humanity is given, like, I think 6 months
To live?
to go to Antarctica.
What happened? Why? That's all I need to, you don't want to tell
That's the
you
place
don't
they're
wanna tell.
allowed to go. And they have a deadline, they have to go there.
I don't like that.
Honestly, it's what you wouldn't like this book. It's not your type of book.
Why not Hawaii? You know what I'm saying?
I guess they didn't like it. They were mad at us.
Wait, so we're being punished by them?
It's not clear that it's a punishment. It is just that's all the information people are given.
You've read the whole book.
I read the whole book.
You liked the whole
I
book.
finished it on the road. Yeah.
Oh,
I
you
loved it.
did?
I thought it was great. Yeah.
But you're saying I should. It's not for me.
I will tell you off air why it's probably not your cup of tea.
I like the alien thing though.
You do? If you like that, you should, because I thought that would be off-putting for you.
It depends on how they are depicted because I feel like there's a range of alien material out there.
So true.
And I like very like realistic, grounded in reality alien stuff. Like a Battlestar Galactica situation.
Which is back on Amazon Prime. I'm going to recommend that. If you haven't seen Battlestar Galactica.
That's why people were posting about it.
Yes. Because
I
I think it
didn't
was
know
unavailable
that.
for a long time. And now it's
We
streaming
binged
again.
that whole thing.
When we lived in New York that year.
That was so fun.
It was fun. It was fun.
After Obama got elected.
Yeah. Folks, watch
that winter,
Battlestar Galactica.
the winter of the Miracle on the Hudson.
That's right. Chesley Sullenberger. Okay, but so Cold People by Tom Rob Smith. That's my recommendation. And
Get your Varietopia
get
tickets.
your Varietopia tickets May 26th. Live stream it, baby.
Buy some Kinship Goods merch.
Kinship Good merch.
We've got a new T-shirt. I have to say, I've worn the T-shirt. People freaking love this T-shirt.
Have you gotten a lot of
The
compliments? on it?
platypus T-shirt. Yeah,
That's great.
Yeah,
That's great.
I
love
love.
hearing that.
I love it too, and I think it's so cute and funny.
Manly, yes, but I like it too. Remember that? Irish Spring?
Oh, yes.
My recommendation is look up on YouTube the Irish Spring commercials where a guy cuts Irish Spring with a penknife.
He cuts it. Like, why does he? Because he's smelling it like it's like nature.
Yes, and here's the thing. When he cut that soap, it looked delicious.
Yeah, remember when you and Craig ate soap?
Craig and I, okay.
Craig
I can't believe
Kukowski.
we're getting into so many tangents at the
I don't
end
care.
of the
People
show.
like it.
I know, but I have to go to the
People can-
bathroom.
Oh my
I
god!
have to pee. I've had to
You
pee for
can
like-
at least tell the story about eating the soap.
We went to a wedding and we got little gift bags on the way out. They included what looked like some sort of delicious confection.
Like a little donut or something.
Yes,
it was
turned
like
out. Yes, it was a little donut, And you thought, like, oh, it's just like a white chocolate
like
thing
a
or whatever.
candified, or like a marzipan or something.
Yes. And I bit into it, and it was soap. And then on the way back, found out I was not alone. Craig Kukowski also bit into it. And it was mortifying. All right.
I like that he texted and said, "Hey guys, it's soap." And you were like, "Yeah, I know."
All right.
Too late, dude.
We'll be back next month. Don't forget, sign up for Substack. We're still doing our pump and dumps,
which is at weekendwater.substack.com. We have a lot of bonus content behind our little paywall.
Yeah.
You know, we have our reaction podcasts to the latest season of Vanderpump Rules.
Okay, now we're repeating things, and I have to go to the bathroom.
Reaction podcasts to the entire season of
Ration podcast.
And some movie watch-alongs. Until then,
stay safe.
Stay sane,
and stay strong.